What's up guys, Mr. Basie here, and today we're going to be talking about blast radius in Halo 5 Guardians and essentially how far I think it should go with, basically all the weapons we understand that have blast radius, so like rockets, anything that has explosions like grenades, concussion rifle. Of course they all have varying damage and everything, so those should take into account what I'm about to say, but I definitely think right from the bat, I want to kind of state my opinion right off the bat like I always like to do, is that I don't think that they should be ridiculous, okay? That's kind of obvious, though. I want to be more specific. Let's go through the past of Halo really quick and kind of go over the blast radius damages and damage fall-offs and how far they went in those games. So Halo 1, 2, and 3, roughly similar, okay? They're not the same. I'm not going to say that, but they were fairly similar. And then going on to Halo Reach, okay? Probably the most powerful explosions have ever been in a Halo game. I may be wrong about that, but I mean, Reach was pretty powerful. I mean, you could do a lot with just a single nade, or maybe if you guys remember the map Ivory Tower that was remade. Okay, it was, I forget what it was called, but it was remade on Halo Reach, and you could shoot it. If you were on the sniper area, the snipe tower, where the snipe spawned, you could shoot a rocket from one end of the hallway to the other and hit the wall, okay, on that side and kill anybody that was like lifting up. It was pretty ridiculous. I did that multiple times, and I was very surprised that you could do that, but of course I took advantage of it. Okay, it was Reach, and I'm not going to say it wasn't fun. It was definitely a lot of fun, but from a balancing standpoint, okay, I'm going to get to competitive in a second, but from a core gameplay balancing standpoint, without a doubt, I don't think that that was a very good choice, okay? I don't think that the rockets being, so powerful that you could pretty much kill people through the ground, okay, if they were close enough to a ledge, and I don't even mean standing on the ledge, I mean they were like somewhat near a ledge, and you could shoot the kind of the angle of the ledge near them and definitely kill them, or maybe the outer edges of a hallway that they haven't even entered yet, but they were kind of like just around the corner. You could still kill somebody with rockets doing that, and that's how powerful they really were. The blast radius was massive, and the damage fall off for that radius was absolutely incredible. Okay, so they were very powerful, and in Halo 4, I think that was just it was slightly more powerful than what Halo 3 was. Okay, so in terms of all the Halos, that's kind of where my opinion falls when it comes to the blast radius and all the explosion damages. But Halo 3, in my mind, was a good balance. It wasn't too powerful. It wasn't too weak. You still had to be kind of precise, and you had to really be mindful of your positioning. Okay, it wasn't just, oh, I have the low ground and they're close to an edge, so I'll just shoot the ledge, and they'll potentially be dead, or they'll be extremely weak. Whereas in Halo 3, that wasn't necessarily the case. They could, you might do some damage to them, but it definitely wouldn't be nearly enough to, blow them back or kill them unless they were already weak. So I think that was a pretty good balance, okay, between, a power weapon, being the rockets, one of the most powerful weapons in the game, and it not being too overpowered. You still had to, be very aware of your positioning. You had to always be trying to keep the high ground if possible. You tried to keep your battles in favor of you, even though you had rockets, even though you knew you had such a devastating weapon, you still had to make sure that the battle would still somewhat revolve around your play style or your playing field with the rockets. So again, maintaining high ground, trying to hit them as they fall to the ground, so you have the most splash damage right around their feet. With Reach, it really didn't matter. They could be full jump, and you could hit an area just roughly around where they're standing, and it would still kill them. It was a very, very powerful explosion radius, and I don't necessarily think from a balancing standpoint that was a good idea, and from a competitive standpoint, it's not either. And here's why. Because you don't need to be as precise with it. When I think of competitive gaming with anything, doesn't matter what game, Halo, Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Gears of War, whatever it is, precision is the name of the game. Precision, tactics, teamwork, strategy, all those things are the name of the game in terms of competition and competitive play, okay? And when you have a blast radius, okay, I understand it's a rocket launcher, I understand they're explosions, but when you have a blast radius that massive, that doesn't really entail precision to me. It just doesn't. And you may say, well, it's an explosion, and I understand that, but you also have to understand we're not playing Battlefield, and we're not playing Call of Duty. Not that those games are bad, I'm just saying that's a different style, okay? That's more realistic or realism, okay? Where in this, we have, first of all, shields, okay? And this is more, you know, again, I know that the armor doesn't affect the way your character's defense is, but it's, you know, all in the same. It definitely is still a thing. We have the shields, we have very thick armor, okay? We're in the future. So I don't think that the grenade should do necessarily that much damage. It should do damage, or grenades or explosions or whatever it is. It just shouldn't do that much, okay? You know, grenades in Halo Reach were pretty much on par with rocket explosions on Halo Reach. I think it should very much differ between different weapons you're using, or vehicles maybe. Like for example, a tank round naturally should be more powerful than a rocket round, and a grenade round should not be nearly as powerful as a rocket launcher blast. And that's just kind of how I feel about it. But if we were talking about like Halo Reach or something, and let's just use the example of the grenade launcher and the grenade. So I think the grenade launcher, because of the fact that it technically shoots grenades, should be as powerful as a grenade. And so you kind of understand that logic, right? That's kind of where I think that this next game should fall in terms of blast radius. And I think blast radius is an important concept to talk about, simply because so many people use it. Again, one of the core fundamentals of the game is to, you know, pre-throw grenades to either hold an enemy back or weaken them before you get into the gunfight. That's just how it is. And a lot of, you know, even a lot of my friends, when they get on, if they're, you know, Call of Duty players or whatever it may be, and they try Halo, one of the first things that they always say is that, wow, a lot of people are throwing nades. And that's because that's one of the fundamental things to do in the game. It helps you succeed. Knowing where to place your nades is really good. You know, having nade spots, having good nades, having good pre-nades, knowing when to throw a grenade or where, very important stuff, okay? And it's definitely a core fundamental in the game, and I think that this is why it's so important, because especially with grenades, blast radius can really affect the way the game works, okay? In terms of how fluid it is and how good it flows. That's definitely important. Rockets are important too, because they're extremely powerful, but grenades are more of an everyday kind of thing. You know, you use them all the time. We spawn with 2 of them. So it's very imperative that we focus on blast radius and try to, you know, understand it a little better, so that when we're throwing nades at each other, we don't just get kills, you know, willy-nilly, and it doesn't really take any skill at all, which I feel, I wouldn't say Halo Reach was, but it was darn close to that, in my opinion. So let me know what you're thinking about this in the comments down below. Did you like Reach's explosion factor? I mean, it was fun. Like I said, it was fun nonetheless. But, you know, take a step back and look at it from that competitive or balancing standpoint. Do you agree with me, or do you disagree? And list your reasoning why, because I'd be very interested to hear if you know, any kind of points that you have to make about explosion radius being larger than maybe even Halo Reach. Maybe you think that they should be even more powerful. I don't know. So rate the video what you think it deserved, and subscribe if you'd like to become a Sage in training today. This has been Mr. Basie, your favorite Sage, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.